last year.
I am going to cover a few slides, and then we're going to write our next paragraph. Call it a day. No, because that takes forever, and I don't have much.
This is conflict day. I saw Will.
Well, watch the video. Just what you wanted to hear.
Watch the video.
Didn't we get some sheet yesterday?
You're a piece of sheet.
Oh.
That
Thanks,
was a
Potter.
joke. All right, we're going to.
That was a joke.
Yep.
What? Where are we? Sarin. You want to use some sarin gas?
Okay. So allow me to cover a few slides here, and then we'll write a paragraph. Hama is a city in Syria. Hama. Yep. And what happened was that in the late 1970s, the ruler of Syria handled a bit of a revolt by crushing it like a grape and rolled in the tanks and killed the protesters, and not only killed them, crushed their homes, killed their families, and it worked. It was very effective, and the voice against this guy, this dictator, fell silent again for a while because he did what a dictator does, and that is crush rebellions like a grape. Whereas in our country, protests are, in a way, welcome. That's the American way. You should have your chance to voice your opinion. And they go to Washington, and they have speakers, and Martin Luther King speaks, and the tanks don't go rolling in. Now, I'm not suggesting that that's never happened. That has happened in American history. But it's not the norm, which is the situation in other parts of the world. And so my first bullet here is the U.S. has a military presence in the Middle East. And in Middle Eastern countries, American flags are burned. And they say, "Death to America," and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Why doesn't the U.S. military just roll in and nuke them? Which I've heard a billion times from students your age. Why don't we just nuke the Middle East and start over?
We got options.
And the reason, which I hope occurs to you, is number one, that would be murdering innocent people. Number two, we don't believe that you should silence criticism. We should allow it to happen. That's exactly what we shouldn't do. What we're doing is we're trying to encourage other countries to do what we do, and that is tolerate dissent. And then there's this argument, and it goes a little something like this. By violently crushing the opposition views, you lose the moral high ground. We lose the support of people around the world who believe that the U.S. represents something, that the U.S. is more than a country. The U.S. is more than land. The U.S. is an idea. We're an idea. What's the American idea? Tolerance, dissent, allowing for differences of opinion. And if we roll in the tanks, we are no better than the governments that we are trying to topple or overthrow. We'll lose the support of the world. Other countries can engage in violent crushing of, and have used violent crushings of protests, exactly what we don't do. Have any of you seen footage of what's going on in Nicaragua? Holy mackerel. I mean, there's a president there who lost the election but won't admit it. I didn't lose. I won. And he's not relinquishing power.
That's nice.
And he has openly, now they haven't apprehended the other guy, but he's openly said if he shows up, arrest him, to the guy that won the election. And there have been massive protests. And the other day, he rolled in the tanks, and there's video of these armored cars running over people. Right? The U.S. doesn't do that. We simply don't have that approach that other countries do. I'm going to show you some evidence of the way that the Syrian government handles protest, by using chemical weaponry. I hope it works. It didn't work. All right. Well, I've got some pictures here. You can YouTube this. Just type in 2018 Syria sarin gas attack. Sarin is a chemical weapon. It is banned by international law. Whether you signed up to agree to this treaty or not does not matter. If you are a signee, great. If you're not, doesn't matter. You are still bound to it. And the Syrian government used it against their own citizens, people who want to get rid of the ruler of Syria. This guy frothing at the mouth, that's an unpleasant video to watch. This guy basically choked on his own spit. These are children, Syrian children, a danger to the Syrian government, obviously, right? Now, you have just seen 3 pictures that the people of Syria have never seen because the Syrian government controls media in Syria. They don't want this picture to get out there. And so you have more knowledge of what happened in Syria than Syrians. Okay, this is what the Syrian government does to its own people who protest the Syrian rules. Okay, this slide here represents the last slide that I'm going to cover as far as this class is concerned today. So what I'm arguing is that there were results from Middle Eastern governments handling dissent violently. There are these results. And the first result is the groups that they targeted fled. Doesn't that make sense? If the government's going to kill you, time to go. Or they go. These groups that fled were these radical Islamics. I mean, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They fled. They fled Egypt. They fled Syria. Time to go. Where'd they go? Well, you go where you're free to exercise your views, or you go where there's really no centralized government, where there's anarchy, chaos. Well, where are there free governments that allow you to express your opinion? United States? Is there Al-Qaeda in the United States? Yep. Western Europe? Does Western Europe tolerate differences of opinion? Is Western Europe basically a free society? Okay, so that's the free societies, and then lawless areas like Afghanistan, right? Afghanistan has no functional central government. It's basically a tribal area of lands that they kind of glued together and said, you're a country. But they're not. Somalia. The federal government of Somalia rules one city, and they're considered the federal government. But they're not, okay? So they fled. And then, if you're this dictatorship government, if you're the Syrian government, and if you want the public to be resentful, but not to you, you create a boogeyman. There he is. He's leaving right now. America. Death to America. You see, I'll wipe you out with sarin gas and then make you think they did it. All these people, I'm saying this with a fair degree of certainty. When you see these videos of thousands of people in the streets of some Middle Eastern city and they're burning an American flag, please try to understand that these people do not have access to information like you have access to. They are being spoon-fed information. They're acting out on their beliefs. When they're told, oh, those sarin gases, America did that. Well, if I was told that and I had access to an American flag and a match, I would burn the American flag if I were one of these people. You understand? They're acting out of ignorance. They're acting out of what they've been told. And what they've been told is America is the cause of all these problems. Okay? That's what this one means. And then the final result is down here. These radical groups made a deal with these governments that are dictatorships. And it goes something like this. I'll leave you alone. You leave me alone. So again, 3 results. 1, they fled. The groups that could fled. 2, the oppressive governments blamed the United States, and that's why you see all these people burning American flags. And then 3, the groups that remained were left alone as long as they left the government alone. That's the situation that exists in Middle Eastern countries today. Any questions? Very good. Let's attack your next paragraph. So there are the computers. You should retrieve everything that you need in order to successfully write the next paragraph. Now let's do this.
What? Your mom.
Am I correct? We should be writing your 5th paragraph? No one knows.
Yes.
Okay. That's where you should be. I want to give you a couple minutes so that you're ready, and then I'm going to talk briefly, and then the rest of the hour is yours to accomplish and call me over and have me sit next to you and help you write your paper. The good news is this is almost done.
Connor, I'm going to go to the bathroom.
Hey, Potter, do you have any experience with getting birds out of the house?
Birds?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Open a window.
You call. I'll do that.
Why do you have a bird in your house?
I don't know. My mom must have gone to Hunter Place.
Open a window, it'll fly out. Same thing if you have a bat. You don't have to go kill the bat, just open the window.
My cat killed the bat.
Different.
It'll fly out eventually.
Gotta get a lighter and
Plus, bats are protected, so leave them alone.
lighter and a thing of
They
salt.
are? I don't know that.
They're endangered.
How are
Really?
bats
They're endangered?
They are. There's a disease killing bats.
Oh.
Where'd the disease
So
come
what
from?
kind of human found out?
It's like a white powdery substance that ends up on bats' noses. It's like a fungus.
Cocaine?
Or something.
I'm just-
No, it's not cocaine.
High percentage of bat deaths down
Bats are
in
not
Mexico.
addicted to
Flying into just bricks of cocaine.
Take ah, and then they fly off.
Minimally, you should be retrieving your paper and then the one document that you'll be quoting from. So at least 2 separate tabs you're creating, right? The paper and then the article that makes the argument you're about to explain in this paragraph. While you're on your phone.
I'm gonna do
Oh my God, why? Oh, it's really. The good news today is that we're going to extend arts and crafts by 4 hours today. Now, the real good news is there's plenty of time to kind of get some stuff done, which is good because a whole lot of you have a lot to do. That's what I should do. I will call you one by one over here, step into my office, and we'll figure out what you're missing because some of you are missing a bit. Let's fix it. Are we ready?
Now, are you gonna actually direct this time, or are you just gonna be like?
I'm just going to say do this.
It's a cut, okay.
It's the same as the previous paragraph. Okay.
She should have meant to say.
I agree with you. We are writing the 5th paragraph, which is the what? Okay, I'll come and sit with you. Okay. We are writing the 5th paragraph, which should be the second argument for the side you agree with. Assuming you're writing a 6-paragraph
I got
paper.
2.5.
Some of you in here are writing a 5-paragraph paper, and some of you are writing a 4-paragraph paper, which is fine.
What's this?
But this is the second argument for the side you agree with. So your topic sentence should say the second reason, blah, 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 blah. The context is this is important because, or this matters because, or at this time, blah, blah, blah. Why does what you're about to say matter? Who cares? That's a good one. Answer that question. Who cares? Question mark. And don't have a sentence that says, I care. No. No. I mean, you might, but I don't care that you care. The next part would be the part where you're actually referring to your document. I need the speaker, the credibility of the speaker, what the speaker said, and where'd you get it. The where'd you get it is a footnote. It's either a 1 or a 2 or a 3 or a 4. That's all I need. You've already turned in the document summaries. I already know where you got this information. Just remind me. Okay. And then in blue is explain it in your own words. Little girl walks in and you read her a quote and she says, I don't know what that means. Now, explain it to her a different way. Then prove it with an example. A real example or a hypothetical example. Either way is fine. You got to prove it.
Always with shouting.
And then wrap it up with a because A is true, B is true. Because A is true, B is true. So I'm almost done. I will be sitting at that table. I will be calling you over one by one, and you and I will agree on how you're doing in here. And if you have any questions. Okay. Rest of the hour is all yours. I'll be right there.